right, everybody, we're back here. This is going to be the all-pick mode for Dignitas versus EG. This is game number 2. We had to remake because, of course, Fog Computer, not the best right now. It's overheating, unfortunately, so we will get back into the game in just a second. And Snake King will become the stand-in for the side of Dignitas, a player they're pretty familiar with, and we saw him yesterday as well. So we'll see how this does play out, and we're going to see how the lanes are matched up in just a moment. Hopefully we get right into the game, no pauses or anything like that, but I'm not holding my breath as we wait 20 seconds before we jump right into the game. And I am Maut. With me today is NYJohn, and what are you thinking right now, especially with Snake King coming in? Is this going to work for Dignitas?
I have no idea because they just drafted thinking that Fogg was going to be able to play. We'll see how Snaking can do in this pretty unique lineup. And, I mean, it definitely throws a wrench into their plans in the slightest regard. Of course, Snaking, a great player, definitely another one of those top players not on a team right now. And he's comparable, but we saw yesterday they just seem to have some better synergy when Fogg's in the lineup, as you would expect, since they have been a team for quite some time now. And Fogg has played that solo role for a good amount of that time as well.
Absolutely. And that's so true. I mean, anytime you try to throw somebody in there, I mean, even if he's been on your team before, they've been practicing together as 5 with Fogg, of course, with Universe as well. But now Snaking is here. He's going to be on that Shadow Shaman, so it looks like he'll be in that mid role, unless they want to switch something up. But I don't see that happening now. I mean, I imagine that Snaking will probably be playing mid, as we saw yesterday. In the meantime, we're getting a pause out from the side of Jo, who needs a moment, but that's fine. Of course, everybody
Are you
needs some
looking
time.
at EG well right now?
Milk's in the air, and I have no idea why.
I have no idea what skill could put Milk in the air like that.
Tiny toss, but he's not there. He's in the other well, so I have no idea how. I mean, I think maybe it's just like we paused as soon as we got into the game, and maybe it's like him spawning or something. I have no idea how this works.
I don't know, but that looks awesome.
It
So
looks
I
like
just have to
Demon's
point
throwing
that
him or
out.
something. It looks pretty cool. I love the chat so much. I think a lot of casters hate when people talk in all chat. I don't know why. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's pretty amusing, and I like the little back and forth here and there. No problems with that.
So we did a lot of theory crafting in the previous game. I think we're gonna avoid that this time around. I think we said all we could say on the matter. At least, I
No.
mean, we could talk about snaking all we want, but I mean, I'm not gonna go down that road right now. I'm more concerned about really. You think about out carrying somebody, and I think Tiny is probably. We talked about this yesterday. Tiny is probably one of the best people to. Out carrying anybody really. It just does so much damage. It's so hard to kill him once he gets tanky. He does so much damage early on with his abilities, and then later on when he can get that Aghanim Scepter, which you almost always see a Tiny get. In fact, I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you're playing carry Tiny, well, really 10 times out of 10, if you're playing a carry Tiny, you're going to go for an Aghanim Scepter, and if you don't, then you're missing out on a lot of damage. So, we will be good to go here in just a second. We're going to get the game unpaused. We're going to see where everybody goes. No need to do introductions again. Once again, I am Maut. With me is NYJohn. This is the Neo Dota NA Killing Spree game number 2. If Dignitas takes it, they are the first king of the hill. If EG takes it, they prolong their life and we head to game 3. And that could be interesting. Demon heading to the mid lane right now. Bottom lane, there goes Fear. Looks like he will be joined by Rubik shortly, but Beatus is going to the mid lane right now. Probably going to ward up for the time being. Jo's heading to mid as well, and Milk going to head into that bottom jungle right now. 4 up in the top lane for Dignitas, and it looks like Way Too Sexy is going to be in that off lane playing that Furion with that nice little necklace of lay he has on him, leaves if you will. I don't even know what that thing is, but it looks pretty cool. Regardless, Dignitas looking for some early blood here up in the top lane. Not going to find it. They're actually just going to sit here and make sure that nothing's getting warded up and put a ward down of their own. But Tides Universe and Aoi 2000 are here. Snaking as well. He'll probably be sent to the mid lane. Then again, I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see. So, I'm going to look for the runes. Of course, nothing spawning just yet. Milk making sure there's no early Roshan attempt happening. He's going to find nothing there, obviously. Of course, we saw that early smoke come out of Dignitas early on in that first game, and they were looking for that Roshan as well, but they didn't find it, so.
And this is something to do in most games, is that you have the Darkseer start off in your jungle, pick up level 2, sometimes even level 3 by stacking the small creep camp, and then head up to the top lane when it becomes a little bit more viable for him to be up there safely. You don't want to go up there into, especially a lane like this where there's 3 disables between the 3 heroes, and give up a first blood unnecessarily So a good little strategy that a lot of the pro teams are using with Darkseer nowadays.
Absolutely, and that will provide a little bit more of a safety net for Jo. And just get that Iron Shell up first, make sure he can get some last hits, and make it a little bit more safe here if he does decide to end up going into that top lane. And we've seen this before, though. IO2000 will have nobody to go up against him. He will get essentially free farm up here. Demon will be going up against Snaking, as we predicted. Snaking will be playing that Shadow Shaman in the mid lane with the tri lane, which we were talking about earlier. So Demon is going to be this mid lane hero, which leaves Luna down here trying to get some CS of his own. Right now, actually, Way Too Sexy is pulling back to the tower so he can get some of his own farm, and that's a good play there to make sure that he can get a few last hits, which will be nice to have. So already good stuff, but Beatus is going to come in here on that Rubik with Invis Rune, getting Iron Shelled right now, and there's going to be Telekinesis. Snaking might be in some trouble here, taking some damage. Axe is going to fly and miss, but the Tether going to fly in, maybe going to pull this off, and they will get away. Snaking barely surviving once again. But still, a nice play there coming in from Tides. Make sure you can get that Tether off and sort of just make sure that they say, hey, well, maybe don't go for a gank right now, Beatus. Just back off. And, of course, Demon misses those axes. Not the best. So
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay, missing the axes, but it wouldn't have converted into a kill anyway because they had Wisp in the area to make sure that Shadow Shaman is going to be safe. And this is kind of what we saw, a little bit similar to what we saw yesterday, where Wisp was using a lot of time to just make sure that the lanes are safe instead of picking up his own levels and farms. So this may be a little bit of a later level 6 Wisp than you normally like, but it's going to be necessary for Dignitas with the lineup that they're running with right now. And that does do a lot of help for Shadow Shaman, him staying through that first gank attempt. Now we see that Demon has expended most of his mana. Bottle's going to be coming out to him momentarily, but in the time in between, it's a good opportunity for Snaking to pick up some free CS.
absolutely, and this is going to allow him to move a little bit more freely, especially on his high ground, which is always dangerous if you're on that opposing team's high ground. And now he will bring the creeps back to his tower, allow him to get a few last hits, so he'll use his Ether Shock there to get 2 of them. And he's up to 8 last hits right now, tied with the Beastmaster actually, and he gets a bottle. Pretty much at the same time Demon has his, so already pretty even in this middle lane right now, but that could change pretty quickly here. Snaking doing a good job avoiding those axes already, and Demon now expending a lot of his mana, still has 2 bottle charges with the 4-man shield there. Snaking's actually going to just use that bottled and use the courier to crow it, so rather than going for the runes, realizing that he may not have really a chance to get him, especially with the amount of people down here in the bottom jungle. Of course, Demon could always head up to the top lane and find those runes. Meanwhile, top lane, Tide sitting still at level 1. Nyx Assassin getting some experience from being in the lane is at level 2, and NYJohn at level 4, getting 19 last hits. Only 1 CS ahead of the Luna. Still not a bad thing, though. Of course, we talk about NYJohn. He'll get his farm up pretty significantly fast if he can, as well as Fear, going with pretty standard 2 into Lunar Blessing, 2 into Lucent Beam. Nothing really crazy there. Mid lane, more Ether Shocks flying. Demon has his bottle getting crowed back to the well right now. He's actually got full mana, so he can use his axes whenever necessary. So relatively not as much aggression as there was in the first game, I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty agreeable. On the bottom lane, though, I want to note something. Luna decided to pick up those early Tranquil Boots. This was an opportunity that perhaps Fear could go for the Midas, and he's one of those players that really has a high value on picking up a Midas, as it is a good item in most circumstances, but it looks like perhaps he's thinking about not doing it, because if he had decided to go for the Midas, he should have prioritized it and picked it up immediately just to maximize the value you get from it. So, little interesting thing to note. And instead, they're just going to push aggressively. So if they're going to be more aggressive, he's better suited to get the drums like last game. So in all likelihood, that's what we'll see coming out from him.
Yeah, absolutely already, though. The tower taking a little bit of damage. Of course, Beatus was taking a few hits from the tower as well, but this Wildkin Warchief doing a good job of tanking it up. And Treant trying to aggro it off the tower will do so for the time being. Now Wisp does grab an Illusion Rune, but he's still only level 1, so if he goes in there, he might die. Looking at Snaking back in low mana, but he actually has a decent amount of last hits. He's actually at 21, ahead of Demon right now in terms of last hits. Jo down here still getting some last hits in the jungle right now. He's sitting on 16. He'll be able to head up to the top lane if he wants to right now or relatively soon. Bottom tower does fall here, getting the last hit of just the regular Radiant side. Just the creeps getting the last hit, so Fear not getting that extra gold for him, but it doesn't really matter. So have that nice early tower to give him some extra gold as well. IO2000 sitting on 35 last hits. Only one ahead of Fear right now, but of course Tiny's farm can get pretty crazy once he gets that Aghanim Scepter if he can get it quickly. So we'll have to see if that does happen. We know that he can get that quick Aghanim Scepter in roughly around like 11, 12 minutes, which we saw yesterday. So we'll have to see that. Level 6 is up for the Shadow Shaman right now. Demon's still at level 5 right now. He was actually helping Jo try to jungle a little bit, using a salve on him just to get him back up to full health. So Snake King's actually had some time here in the mid lane to get some CS, as we were talking about. He's at 28 last hits now. Bottle gets crowed back to him. He's got boots again. He's almost got enough for arcane boots if he wants to go for those. And Demon will get back in the mid lane, get some more axes, and actually might try to do a little bit of damage onto Snake King as well. And Snake King actually has enough to go for a ward trap if he can get it off, but that's a big if. As well as we see rotations from Tides as well as Way Too Sexy. They're just leaving this lane alone, it looks like, so they're not even going to try to contest it with Fear. So Fear, now level 5, has a Ring of Aquila, the Tranquil Boots, which we talked about already. Could have gone an early Midas, but he didn't, so we'll have to see if that does play out negatively for them. 1,000 gold almost up on Way Too Sexy right now. We'll have to see what he decides to go for. And yeah, everybody's just farming away right now.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet and Wisp have decided to team level in the jungle. It's good for Wisp at least. He'll get some experience. He's still sitting on level 2. Nature's Prophet, meanwhile, 1,000 gold in the bank, probably going to go for a Midas build on him, as he is saving that gold right now. Roar in the middle lane, though.
Snake King taking some damage here. He might be in some trouble. There's going to be the Hex and the wards, but not in a trap. Jo going to come in, get the last hit with his Iron Shell, taking some damage from those wards. Coming in, it is a little late on Tides. He won't be able to really do anything here. They're going to just take all of these wards and take the money from them. So, good first blood. Demon getting it, but he's actually low in health, so he'll have to get back. But they do get that first blood money. They do get the experience from that kill, and of course, the gold from the wards as well, giving Milk a little bit of extra money, which is very nice for him to have.
And Snake King hasn't been practicing this solo middle Rasta. That's a ward trap you really have to hit if you're going to be that aggressive, or at least try and turn it around. Otherwise, you need to hold that button, because the wards are so important, especially in the early game, with the sheer amount of damage they can output on any tower, just throwing them down. And, I mean, he'll lose it for a cooldown. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but hopefully those ward traps will be on point from here on out, just so they can start get things going against this EG team. Otherwise, it looks like EG are going to be pretty formidable in the farm battle.
Absolutely, and not only that, but they'll be able to push like they did in the previous game. Maybe not as quick as they did, but they can still push with that timing, and especially if they can get Jo some levels as well. Get some vacuums up on him, as well as some Wall of Replica levels, and that might be good as well. Snake King right now does have his Arcane Boots, however, he did buy those, I think, before he died. Regardless, he did go down to that first blood. Tiny has been farming the jungle as well as the lane. He picked up his point booster. I'm not sure where it went. He had it a second ago. I don't know where it went. Oh, he picked it back up off the ground. I'm not sure what he was doing with it. But he is going to have another fast Aghanim Scepter again. He's very close to having his second component. Once again, he only needs about 3,000 gold to get that. He's farming pretty well. I don't know if it's going to be as quick as the previous one yesterday, which was at 11 minutes to be exact. I'm not sure if it's going to be that quick, but we'll have to see. Snake King back in the mid lane right now. Tide's still trying to find some experience. He's at level 3. Another Roar back on mid right now. Snake King in some trouble, and the Darkshore Warlord. This should be a kill. He will go down, and that's another kill for Demon on the side of Snake King. So he's having a tough time right now, going down twice. And obviously, he said it, and he's not practicing his solo mid Rasta, but who is practicing his solo mid Rasta?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what I mentioned before. It's a tough game to come into and play a hero in that capacity, since he probably hasn't done it in quite some time. I mean, outside of maybe some occasional pub play. But either way, you know, he's not slated to dominate that lane. Once they hit level 6, the Roar is available, and you expect the gank rotations to come in from EG, and they have. EG are a very solid squad. They're not going to mess up on the free opportunities. They're going to take what's given to them. And those two Rasta kills were, you know, just pretty much easy for them.
Absolutely, and that's what you kind of expect in that lane. I mean, they had help there as well if they needed it, but Demon probably did a good job. I mean, just soloing him, really, just with the Roar, the axes, the right-click damage. I mean, he can turn that around and ward trap him, but of course, with the help around, it also makes it a little bit more difficult. You really can't escape that. Snake King playing very far back right now. He's going to get a TP. Make sure he can roam around the map. Now, we actually see EG starting to roam to the mid lane, and maybe this is the timing that they're looking for to pressure the map, and I said that they weren't going to do it as early, but it looks like they will. I mean, all 5 heroes are here, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're going to try to pressure this, and we see Dignitas is actually getting ready for it. Of course, Aoi 2000 is not here. He only has his point booster. He can buy another component now if he wants to, but that may not be enough to try to defend this. The wards are going to go off the Impale as well, doing a good job of defending this push right now, and the Treants. So good counter push here from the wards, the Treants as well, but these wards are on cooldown now for another 100 seconds. Meanwhile, they're going to head top lane, maybe try to focus on Aoi 2000, and he could be in trouble here. They do have that Dire Ward. They did see them roam through through there. So they do know that this is coming. Aui's going to get back to the tower right now. They're going to maybe try to pressure the top lane. TPs might come in from the side of Dignitas. Not that really any of them have them. In fact, they don't. Only one does. And they're going to try to push this middle lane tower. It's going to get fortified, but some damage will go. But I think the top lane is going to get pressured very hard here from the side of EG, and I think that might go down. I'm not 100%. I mean, there's no TP rotations coming in. I'm pretty sure if they want that tower, they'll be able to get it. And now Dignitas has to back off to the mid lane. They do not have TPs for top. Top should go down. There's a glyph available. It's not going to pop off. So that will be a tower, another tower, I should say, for EG. And once again, they're playing with this push lineup. And this could be trouble. Vendetta's going to fly off from Nyx Assassin. He's going to lead the way. Universe looking for a point of entry here. Might find it on a few heroes, but he'd get caught out immediately. Meanwhile, coming through is Demon on the backside. So we'll have to see if they go for this. Aui 2000 in the mid lane continuing to farm now, not with the fight. So if they go for this, this could be trouble. They're going to try to pressure the tier 3 on the, or tier 2, excuse me, on the side of EG. So this could be troublesome already. 10 minutes in the game. We talked about how quick it was last time, but if they can take this tier 2, it would be big. Tide's taking a lot of damage from that Lucent Beam. This is going to be tough to defend. There's no wards available for Snaking, not at least for another 25 seconds. Impale is going to fly. Glyphs available. Don't know if they're going to use it. I mean, they're trying to clear the creep wave, but just so much damage coming in from the side of EG. They're going to use the Nature's Prophet ult, but a fort right at the end there. Demon was thinking about diving, thinking about it again, and they're just trying to hold this for as long as possible. It will go down. Luna's going to get the last hit, and they're going to back off now.
Yeah, some nice aggressive play from EG. These are a couple of clean tower kills. They haven't given up one kill this game. Last game we saw Dignitas at least pick up a kill lead early on, even though they were falling behind. They had double the kills of EG. This game, it's much more cleaner execution. They're getting everything for free, and they're starting to just convincingly walk through the towers of Dignitas. And Dignitas does have a couple of skills in place to counteract some of the pushes, like we saw the Serpent Wards dropped in the middle lane. We also are beginning to see the ultimate come out from Furion, since he just did turn level 6 with the Wrath of Nature. One of the big problems has to be Tides on Wisp is definitely underleveled. Now he gets level 5 by killing a stack with Tiny, but 12 minutes, we're looking for a level 6 Wisp at the very least, I'd say, and that will help them to really work well against this EG side. Since if they continue to group up and push, they're going to sacrifice some experience, which will be taken advantage of by Tiny.
And we talk about Tiny and Wisp together, and I think the big thing is they can relocate all around the map. So when EG is trying to go for a tower or trying to pressure it, they can simply just go in, overcharge, hit the freaking buildings with a tree, and do so much damage on that Tiny that they can take towers and just back off immediately. And we've seen it happen before, and that's what I think they need to be doing here as they move along through this game. But now EG going to try to press this tier 1 tower. It's going to go down for free again, I'd imagine, right now. I mean, Universe is over here on the side, but he's going to get out. He doesn't want to be anywhere near this. This tower will go down once again. Fear trying to get the last hit. Not going to happen this time around. Not that it matters. Still getting a lot of gold for it. Necrobook finished up for Beastmaster already. It's probably just the level 1, but that's still nice to have to push into the barracks and the tier 3 as well as the high ground. 1,000 experience now going for the side of EG. As you can see, gold now 5,000, and Tiny does take a tower, but they traded tier 2 for it right now, and now there's only one outer tower left on the map for the side of Dignitas, and it's like the same game all over again. And now instead of relying on getting farm on the Nakes and having a Darkseer wall, it's more on the, can they push this back out? Can they get some roaming happening with the Tiny? They are back here. They're going to try to defend this tier 3. Fear and EG are going to back right off. They're not going to go for this. They're smart enough to realize that with that Tiny there, that could be pretty devastating. Essentially, since he did finish up that Aghanim Scepter, call it about 12 minutes for that. So the timing is there for i2000 with that free farm to get that Aghanim Scepter. He only has level 1 grow right now, so he's still very small, little tiny with that tree in his hand.
Yeah, and you mentioned it's like the same game over again. However, it's very different in the same regard. Of course, the strategy is in place, but we could see Fear already has 84 CS this game, which is much better than what he had this time last game. And like I mentioned before, it's just very clean by EG. They're looking very surgical with their actions across the map, and now they're going to smoke up, maybe go into the Roche pit and go for a really early Roche here. They got an early Roche last game as well, and that looks like the plan.
And I don't think they'll be able to spot this out. And if they do spot this out, I don't think there's any way. The Treants are going to come in, but they're going to die right before they get to the Roche pit. So now EG looking to go through mid right now. Universe might get caught out here. Roar might come. He needs to Vendetta now. He does do so. The Sentry's going to fly, however, and Universe in some trouble. He's going to go down. It was a good try to Vendetta out of there, but that Sentry followed right quickly, and they got that Roar off just in time. So Universe will go down, and maybe now they think about Roshan. And in fact, they will head over to the Roche pit right now, and there's no way they can contest this at all. I mean, this should be a very quick Roche.
Yeah, this should be a very free Roche for EG, and I mean, Dignitas, they need to start getting something going. They're getting a little bit of a trade here with Tiny. He has the Aghanim, so he can definitely melt through towers pretty quickly. He's going to go for the tier 2 on the top lane, and it would be nice for them to be able to pick that up. He also has 1,200 more gold in the bank. So we've seen a couple different builds on Tiny from AUI lately. I wonder which one he's going to go this game. If he goes for perhaps the Chrysalis first, or if he goes for the Yasha. Either way, it's going to be a whole lot of damage he can output, as he's coming closer at level 11 as well.
Absolutely. And that could be a big deal. We'll have to keep our eye on Tiny right now. They do take that tier 2 tower down. Good pick up there. Meanwhile, Ancient Sack was actually taken by EG, which is going to give more farm to pretty much everybody. The Aegis is up for Luna. BKB is really close to being done, has the recipe, just needs the Mithril Hammer, which was a lot quicker than it was in the previous game. However, still that Tiny, nothing to shake your head at right now. He's sitting on almost 2,000 gold. We saw the Chrysalis out of him last time, I believe. Will we see the same thing? I imagine we will. That will provide him a lot more damage as well. Of course, he won't have that movement speed, that attack speed like we usually see from Tinies that decide to get the tree first. So we'll have to see what he decides to go for, like you were just talking about. Exactly. So we have to keep our eyes on that. Meanwhile, of course, BKB will be done soon for Luna. Demon picking up that Necro Book level 1. Level 2 will be coming shortly. He's got the recipe for it right now. Milk has a neck already up on him. He's had that for, I think, a few minutes at least. Beat his Arcane Boots as well, and they're going to pressure the last tier 2 on the map for Dignitas. And this will go down. And now all the outer towers are gone, and once again, they're going to maybe look for tier 3 as well as the Raxus here. And it was 18 minutes that melee Rax went down. And will EG try to pressure this is the question. It doesn't look like they will do so. I mean, Aoi and Tides are still going here in the mid lane. Aoi now, level 2 grow up on him. That's going to provide him a bit more extra damage, as well as movement speed. Always nice to have that. So
yeah, it's very interesting because the trade-off is pretty much all of EG is benefiting from getting all these tower kills in terms of the gold, but AUI is getting the last hits on almost all 3 of these towers so far. He has 145 CS. He's leading the pack by a large margin over Luna. So almost all the farm going into Dignitas' side, as we can see, they are below in terms of net farm, is concentrated on their hard carry in Tiny. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he can make of it once they get into an actual team fight scenario, because EG don't look to be separating anytime soon, which is going to be the right move. If they start to not group up and spread out a little bit, then surely they could put themselves in a bad position to be picked off by the relocate from the Wisp and the Tiny.
Absolutely. I mean, right now it's looking pretty good, I think, for Aoi 2000. Despite all of their towers going down except the tier 3s, they're in a good position where Aoi 2000 is getting farmed, like you were talking about. They're pretty much funneling all the gold into him right now. There is a Midas up on Way Too Sexy, of course, for that Nature's Prophet. It looks like he's going for a Maelstrom, as he's got the Gloves of Haste and the Mithril Hammer, so he'll have a little bit more damage as well, which will provide that secondary amount of damage, which is always nice. The problem is right now, they're going to continue to put pressure on the towers here. EG will, and they're going to try to pressure the tier 3, I imagine, pretty soon. I mean, it was about this time that they decided to go for the Rax. They have that Aegis still for a few minutes, I'd imagine. It looks like another 3 minutes they have it, so they will try to maybe pressure mid. Looks like they're going to roam to the top lane, however. I mean, Melk is here. Actually, they're just going to stack up these Ancients so Fear can get a little bit more farm. So, or they're just going to take it for themselves. That's fine, too. I mean, they're also kind of a little underfed, as you can see. So they're going to take some more last hits for themselves. Meanwhile, Aoi 2000 down here in the bottom lane, going to continue to farm 2,000 gold in the bank for him, and it just seems like he continuously has gold. Like he just had 2,000 gold, then he purchased up a Chrysalis, and now he's back at 2,000 gold again. So, I mean, he's starting to get to a point where he's going to, like we saw in the previous game yesterday, he's going to reach a critical mass and just do so much damage and just kill everything. But a tower actually not going to get denied there from Fear. Very close, though. Very nice try.
Yeah, that was really close. AUI lurking back there. He thought perhaps a gank was coming for him, but he wanted the last hit on the tower. He couldn't figure out what to do, but the catapult helped him out, got that last hit. Now, like you said, 2,100 more gold on AUI. And, I mean, like we've mentioned in the past couple of games, just one of the best farmers in the game. As right now he's showing up Fear, who's been in team push efforts with the rest of his squad. But Dignitas are content with this. And we say all the time that they have a lot of comfortability with this lineup, with the Tiny and the Wisp, and of course having Nyx Assassin as well. And the only weird pick was the Shadow Shaman, but it's not really come into play in a negative fashion other than the couple deaths in the middle lane. They've only dropped 3 kills. They've lost a couple towers, but they're still very much so in this game. In fact, I think it's pretty even.
Absolutely. Still very even. I mean, look at the graphs right now. Looks like EG going to try to push into the tier 3 in the bottom lane. 1,500 on experience right now for EG. Gold looking about 5,000. Actually heading down, but they're going to TP back in. They don't want this tier 3 to go down. The fort is going to fly. Oh, Snaking might be in some trouble. Roar's going to hit on him. Snaking in some trouble. Impale is barely going to miss. Snaking needs to get out now, but he might not. Eclipse is going to, Eclipse is going to fly. Fear chasing after, but diving the towers heavily. Meanwhile, pushing into the tier 3 in the bottom lane, or excuse me, top lane is Aoi 2000. Buying back is Snaking. Raxes are going to get traded here, maybe. They do take the melee Rax. They're going for the ranged Rax right now. And now they're going to back off, trying to defend the melee Rax here. And not the trade that Dignitas wanted. They take the tier 3, but now Aoi 2000 in some trouble. He's very slow right now without that Wisp with him. And only level 1 grow, as you can see. He's going to tether him, no. And they should be able to get out, but they do lose that melee Rax once again at pretty much the same time. About 18, 19 minutes there. Snaking going down, buying back, not being able to do a whole lot to help out. So I'm not sure about that trade.
AUI has a Daedalus on the way, so I mean, they seem to be content with these trades. They know exactly what they're doing, and if you actually look at it, they're lost 1 melee Rax, but they're only behind by 1 tower now. So things had been really bleak as of the early ongoings of the game, but Dignitas starting to turn it around, and I'm not quite sure how. They're just not contesting any of these pushes, and it seems to be benefiting them greatly. As you can look at the gold graph and see it swing back towards 0. Still a slight advantage for EG, but nothing too big.
Meanwhile, there's going to be a smoke up from Demon here, not getting caught out. He's actually just going to escape just in time. And Aoi 2000 really wants this Welcome War Chief, and he'll get it as well. Shadow Shaman purchasing up a Blink Dagger. That'll provide a lot of mobility for Snaking. In the meantime, now it's top Raxes and top tier 3 that's going to get pressured from EG here. So Dignitas has to be very careful. They might go for the tier 3 on their own, as it looks like Aoi's going to go for it here. And now they're going to try to push in on the top lane. As you see, Jayo's here with Fear, trying to do some damage for it, not available. They're going to send the Treants there as well. Necrobook Warriors doing a lot, as you can see. Nice Impale. The wards are going to come out as well, and they're going to try to pressure this back. In the meantime, mid lane's getting pressured here from the side of Tiny as well as the Wisp. Pipe is going to get popped. They really want to go for this. Meanwhile, on the backside, Aoi's going to get a kill on Rubik. They actually really located in. Here's going to be a big impale. A lot of fights happening right now. Aoi 2000 taking a lot of damage. Not doing enough. Vacuum's going to fly in. The Spike Carapace. Aoi 2000 taking damage as well. Going to throw one in. He's going to get a huge double kill, but now he's taking a lot of damage. Fear as well taking a lot of damage. Going to go down. Aoi's going to buy right back. Demon trying to get out now as well. He's on the back foot, as you can see. 3 down for the side of EG. They're looking for a kill on Demon. Sprout's going to fly. Demon in some trouble. He's going to use his axes there, trying to get a kill. Almost getting one on Way Too Sexy, but they turn it around. 4-for-1 trade, and Aoi 2000 bought back. They didn't get the tier 3 mid, but they were able to defend there and get a huge kill with Aoi 2000 with a double kill there. Daedalus finishing off, going for his Ogre Club, maybe a BKB, I'd imagine. They're going to head straight down mid, and this might be tough. Fear's dead for 22 seconds. No buyback available. He's like 40 gold away, so just barely not enough. Still, they might be able to defend this without him for another 15 seconds.
And that was just a really smart play. Dignitas actually just waited out the timer on the Aegis for that fight. So that's why they decided to pick that fight and not the last fight. And now if they can take down this tower, they'll have a pretty good shot at getting Roshan for themselves afterwards. They're going to rotate towards the top and go for the Rax.
Yeah, he wants this Rax right now. No glyph available. Aoi needs to try to take this down. He wants it. He's going for it right now. Backdoor, it looks like not anymore. Impale's going to fly out. Vacuum going as well. Aoi 2000 Eclipse. The Roar is going. Aoi 2000's in some trouble. If he goes down, this could be devastating, and it looks like he will. He has no buyback. He's down for a minute now. And EG's going to make their way to the Raxes and just go for this tier 3 tower, which is at 6 HP, by the way. So there is literally nothing standing between them and those Raxes, despite 4 heroes being up as well. No glyph either. And it looks like EG might want to just go mid and just try to take this. They're going to smoke up, try to get there quicker, and try to go and backdoor it, or just go for anything. Right now, Aoi's still down for another 33 seconds. If he can get back up in time, but Tides cannot afford to go down either, and he is very close to getting hit up by this gank. He's going to fly just away. He's going to tether to a creep. He should be able to get back. No, Fear is right here. Fear is going to cut him off. He knows exactly where he is. Lucent Beam is going to fly. Toss coming in as well. Tides is going to go down for 39 seconds. Tier 3 is going to be the next focus here. The Raxes as well. 13 seconds for the side of Aoi. The melee Raxes should go down first. They will do so. Now the range as well is going to fly out. And this should be a set of Rax, and not just the melee, but a set is gone right now, and this is going to make it a heck of a lot tougher. As you can see, Fear going to take that off. He's going to get a Mantis Towel relatively soon. He's got the ultimate orb. Aoi's back alive, but that is not what they wanted. They tried to go for that melee Rax. It just didn't work. There was nobody there to help him. He wanted it too much, and it just didn't go his way.
Yeah, that was probably worst case scenario for Dignitas there. Losing AUI in the base by the top Rax, it really sets them back, and now you have to wonder if maybe they should try and rush to the Roche pit, try and pick up that Aegis right now while everyone seems to be backing for EG, but they're a little bit slow on the uptake if that's going to be their goal, as Roche is going to respawn in about 4 seconds or so. And that's going to be pretty pivotal. Whoever can pick up that Roche can definitely put out a pretty strong fight effort. And if it's on the back of Tiny, of course, he's going to be able to just Rambo in, take out 1 or 2 people with some big cleaves and potentially some crits, and then do work on the Luna afterwards.
Absolutely, and NY2000 will go right for the Roshan pit. Like you said, they get there just as it spawns. Big chicken up for Roshan now from Snaking, hexing him up there. And Roche is taking a lot of damage, obviously, considering the crits that are coming out from Tiny right now. Just too much damage. This is go down way too quickly, and NY2000 will get this Roche, or should take the Aegis, I should say, right now. The treants, or something, were stolen. I think it was the range creeps, excuse me, from the side of Chen. They'll go down. They knew it was happening. Smoke up on Demon right now, but he's the only one, I believe. And now what do you do in this situation if you're Dignitas? I mean, you have to push out the top lane, you have to push out the bottom lane, which they're doing with, of course, Way Too Sexy down here. But at the same time, they also need to put pressure on while they have this Aegis available, and they need to fight maybe as well.
Well, I think they're going to wait until AUI has this BKB, which it seems like he's going for next. That's going to prevent a good amount of damage comes into him. Of course, he's probably still going to be the main focus of the Roar, which you would expect coming out from Demon in any granted team fight. But once they have the BKB, it's going to prevent all the damage from the Eclipse as well as the Lucent Beams, and even keep him out of things like the Vacuum. So that's going to be a very key item acquisition for him when he gets that up, and it shouldn't take very long at all the way his farm has been going this game. So they'll be looking probably to fight once they pick that up in a couple moments.
Absolutely. He's going to get that Mithril Hammer and the recipe as well. We'll follow soon after that. Just checking to see if anything's on the courier. It's not, so he's probably going to save up for buyback for the time being until he can actually just complete the full BKB with 37 seconds remaining. And if he can't get, I mean, buyback I think is probably more important at this point than the BKB itself until he gets the full amount of money for that BKB when he can actually use it to fight. So they're going to continue to farm with that Aegis. Meanwhile, EG will do the same. Yasha's up on the Luna, so Manta will be done very soon for Fear. Jayo has a pipe. We saw that a long time ago, actually. Beat is sitting on not a whole lot besides Arcanes. Demon with the Necrobook level 3, Gem as well as Vlad, so he is pretty farmed in that regard. And Milk, of course, has the not only mech, but he's going for what seems to be either a BKB or an Aghanim Scepter. Ghost Scepter's on him as well. He's got the Ogre Club, so I imagine it could be a BKB, but it also could very well be an Aghanim Scepter. We'll wait and see what that's going to be in just a moment. Right now, something's flying out. Smoke to Snaking right now. They might go for a smoke gank here, which could be very dangerous, but they do have the Aegis up on NY2000. 2,300 gold on him right now. They're going to continue to farm. Universe is going to have Vlads of his own coming very soon, which will help push out the lanes with that extra increased health and armor and the lifesteal and all of that jazz. So he'll have that going for him. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Fear continuing to farm. Manta's finished up on him. And yeah, so both teams content to farm. Not surprisingly, NY2000 definitely needs it. At this point, he needs to get not only just enough money for BKB, but if he can get enough money as for the buyback gold as well, he'll be in a very good position. Right now, his buyback is about 852 gold, so he needs a little bit more than that to be safe and secure. There's 2 here for the side of Dignitas to push this lane in the bottom lane back out. As you can see, the Rangebacks is still alive somehow, so thankfully that's still there for them. And right now, they're going to continue to farm the jungle here, so not a whole lot going on except farming, just, back and forth.
And this is the part of the game where if you're on EG, you're going to desperately try and save up gold and purchase up a Ghost Scepter, as Milk has already done. He has one in his inventory. The other heroes should be looking to get those up as well, with the exception, of course, probably Luna, who doesn't need it as much as she needs to progress and keep going with her items. She has picked up Mantisau, which, of course, a very good item in any circumstance, and 1,000 more gold in the inventory. Maybe going to save for buyback moving forward in the immediate future. And we're at 28 minutes, so her farm's looking pretty substantial and definitely a lot better than it was last game. And we do see Universe is going to come in here. He pops off the invisibility, going towards the jungle. Bottom lane, there was Purple, who is Demon, but he actually does TP out, and that would have been trouble for him as both Nature's Prophet and Universe were in the area looking for a gank attempt there.
What happened was they smoked right under Greater Hawk, and then he Vendetta right out of that as well. So, I mean, he knew it was happening, and they just backed off immediately. They knew there was a gank coming. So, smart play by Demon to have that Hawk available and making sure they get all the vision in the world. NY2000 now level 16 with that level 3 grow. Starting to feel pretty good. He's got that BKB very close to buyback as well. So now they're going to start trying to push. They have a few minutes, maybe a minute or two left on that Aegis. In fact, it looks like only about a minute and a half there. So, it's starting to say, they're starting to think about maybe pushing the lane and trying to go for this tier 2 here. We do see TP back from Way Too Sexy. He's going to head back, though, in just a second. He's got enough. He's got level 4 teleportation, so he can absolutely do that if necessary. I want to check out the graphs before we see any big engagement here. Looking at about 1,000 experience now in favor of the Diary here for Dignitas. Gold is almost even, but still, you think about the Raxes, that's really the problem. And they're going to go for this tier 2. It is backdoored right now, but this creep wave will get here soon. Snake can get a TP to the mid lane right now. This may not be good. As you see, Fear wants to go in and go for a fight right now. They're going to send the Illusions in, try to take down this tower. The Necrobook Warriors as well, the Wildkin War Chief, they're throwing everything right now at this tier 3 tower. They're going to back off, though, realizing that Tiny is in fact here, and they're going to go for a fight, it looks like. Jayo going to get hit right now, going to get thrown. No, he's going to surge himself out of there. NY2000 looking for another kill, but not going to find it, so they will back off. BKB was not used, and they do pressure them back from that tier 3. That was a very nice time push from EG, realizing that the Aegis is going to go down in a second. Get them away from that tier 2 tower, bring them back home, and then you sort of waste any pushing potential they've got there.
Yeah, it's a shame that the wave was so far behind them on the bottom lane. Otherwise, they would have been able to take down that tier 2 pretty handily and then come back and defend it, which would have been a really good result for Dignitas had they been able to do that. Instead, now they're going to jump on top of Beatiz.
Beatiz in some trouble, and here comes the Nature Prophet. They're going to, telekinesis, but Beatiz should go down here. He's trying to get out of there. No rotations coming in from EG. Meanwhile, on the backside, here comes Universe. He's going to impale. They're going to maybe think about turning on him, but that's just bait. And they're going to keep going. Aoi looking for something. Surge on a demon, but he's getting body blocked, and that's going to be the end of the pressure. They do pick off one kill there. And that was like the first relocate of the game, I think, so.
Yeah, Aegis is about to be gone in a couple of seconds, so now we're probably going to see a little bit more conservative play out of Dignitas once again. There is enough money on Tiny to buy back. However, he doesn't want to be pushed to that, as we did see him once early on in the game die after a buyback, and that really gave EG some momentum coming forward and taking down the second set of Rex.
Absolutely. So he will play a little more precariously, I think, and NY2000 has that 2,000 gold in the bank right now. But still, I mean, he needs more than that. He wants to get another big item, I'm sure, but he also does have to save for buyback. He's done a very good job of farming the jungle. He farms it very quick, and he's done a very good job of getting last hits, checking out the net worth chart. He's leading the way by 2,000. Still, though, it's going to be tough. I mean, this is an uphill battle. I mean, they're losing one set of racks. They have the melee racks down in the bottom lane. Tier 3 has been taking... Oh, actually, it's back at full health right now. There was not a whole lot of damage coming in for those illusions from Fear, but Fear now with a BKB of his own and Manta style. And now they're going to head mid again, waiting for the creep wave and try to push in once again, realizing that the Aegis is down, something that Dignitas did earlier against EG. So we're going to have to see what happens here. Of course, Furion is up in that top lane trying to push it out as much as possible, but NY2000 is here. They're going to maybe try to go for a push on the side of EG, not sure, and Pale's going to try to stop it for the time being. Fear just going to try to right-click the tower, Manta style as well. And will they back off? There's the vacuum in the wall of the replica. It's huge amount of damage coming in, and the Eclipse going to go. Roar's going to fly in NY2000. They're going to pick off one and support Universe right now. Tides is going to be the second, and NY2000 is going to buy back immediately. He got brought down so quick, but there's nobody else here for the side of Dignitas, and this tier 3 should go down without too much fuss. As you see, the Glyph is going to go down, but now NY2000 is trying to man mode. He's going to go on Fear. The mech is popped, the all heal as well. TP coming in. NY2000 now has no BKB. He is taking a lot of damage, The wards were stolen, by the way, from Beatiz. A nice steal there as well. Snaking now, trying to get back, but Fear is going to get sprouted up. But this should be another set of racks right now. And I don't know, I think it's probably over at this point. Aoi just gets focused down too quickly, even with the BKB. And that's another set of racks. GG will be called, and we're going to head to Game 3, the ultimate game here to decide the first King of the Hill right now. And despite Dignitas' play here, it didn't really work out the best for them with their hero on NY2000, or excuse me, Tiny on NY2000, or vice versa. I mean, they played so well and just trying to get him some farm, but it just didn't work, so...
Yeah, and as simple as it may sound, the hero pick like Lena last game was a good alternative against the push because she could spam out the Dragon Slave and the Light Strike Array, of course. This game, they didn't really have as much spammable abilities. They have Tiny's combo, but Tiny wasn't present for the defenses of most of those towers early on, and it allowed them to take the towers a little bit more freely. 11-7, it was a small kill total at the end of the game, 33 minutes in. However, EG definitely had their way, a much easier time pushing through Dignitas this game, and even though AUI had a tremendous amount of farm, the focus on the back end of a Primal Roar is just too much for him to withstand and overcome in any given team fight.
Absolutely. Way Too Sexy calling this a fake GG right now. The only thing that we see is Tides of Time is out of the game right now. NY2000 just trying to go for the melee racks, and I don't know what's going to happen here, but I don't think it's going to be anything good for the side of Dignitas. Centaur Warcon going to try to defend this off. And they're going for the tier 3. IO 2000 should take it down, but the fortification is going to fly. Luna's back up now, and they're going to focus everything on IO 2000 here. If this wasn't GG before, if IO 2000 could get a few kills here, oh, he's actually going to get a big kill right there, but immediately the wall goes down. IO 2000 taking a lot of damage, and the roar, of course, as well. IO 2000 taking so much damage. He's going to go down. That is officially GG, I think, at that point. He is dead for 69 seconds, and as well as the Furion going, Tides of Time is dead, even though he's not in the game. Snake King trying to back out, but it is GG. IO 2000 will also disconnect out, so that is the game right there, despite any last efforts from the side of IO 2000. So thanks for joining us here on NYJohn. Remember to follow us here. Check out our website, NYJohn.com. Snake King, and that's not going to work for you. I'm sorry, you're going to die, and he will do so. What's a good thing to look forward to is that Fogged may be back for the third game here for Dignitas, and he played so well in that first game, so we have to keep that in mind. And that, I mean, also not necessarily sure about the pickup for the Shadow Shaman. Of course, didn't work to the best of their abilities, I'm sure. Regardless, we're going to jump into the next game in just a moment. Once again, I am Maut. You can follow me at twitter.com/Maut32, twitch.tv/Maut32. With me is NYJohn. Where can they find you, sir?
You can check me out at twitter.com/NYJohnTV, also twitch.tv/NYJohnTV.
Excellent. So we're going to jump right into the next game, guys. So hold on. We'll be back in just a moment, okay?